Moving on, Max Wild again says, hey, can you give us more behind-the-scenes aspect of your work at PJTV and Truth Revolt? Scott Ott's Trifecta Extra gives us something, but I'd like to see more stuff from your perspective. My friend Scott Ott on Trifecta does something for members only, unfortunately, at PJTV called Trifecta Extra. We shoot Trifecta in a studio. It's funny because Dave Big Butte, by the way, says he's volunteering to be a Big Bet Problems red shirt. Red shirts are really important, Dave. You got to show people how the monsters work, so I may take you up on that. But PJTV we shoot in a studio, and it's weird because I saw Scott in the flesh in Texas a couple of months ago, and it was like I hadn't seen him in person in years, but I feel like I see him every week. So we go into the studio at PJTV. They turn on the remote feeds for Scott and Steve. I sit in the studio, and we just talk to each other in between takes, and we laugh and we joke. And Scott's recorded all that, and he's putting it up as members only stuff on PJTV. We did the Shatner firewall thing, which was a little bit of the behind-the-scenes stuff at over at Declaration Entertainment's old studio where we shoot firewall. And this goes to a question that may be coming up. We talked about some of the new shows, and the only one that wasn't really getting a whole lot of enthusiasm was this Bill Me idea of kind of a one-to-one sort of webcam-y kind of thing. So I'll talk about the other shows in a minute. But I think we're probably going to let that idea go based on a lack of enthusiasm. And in its place is members-only content here. I've talked to Jeremy and some other people over at Truth Revolt, and I'm thinking about doing something called Behind the Firewall. And that would be members-only content at billwhittle.com, where I would shoot the firewall, and when I'm finished, I would talk about it for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that kind of thing. I would basically just say, this one was near and dear to my heart, being about the Spaceship One crash, and just kind of give some insight, some kind of behind-the-scenes stuff, because this Stratosphere Lounge episode is dedicated to what we can expect to see coming up in year 2, what we want to see. But what it really comes down to is year 2 has got to be the year of more members-only content, because I still have not ever really aggressively gone out and tried to sell memberships, and I'm going to need to do that in order to get some of this film development money going, and I really don't feel like I can do that until I get this members-only content stuff on the web. We couldn't get the members-only content stuff done until The Office was finished, and you can see The Office is darn near finished, so probably next week will be the first week we actually get that done. I'll come to that in a minute. So I think I'll try to do Behind the Firewall. Technically speaking, since you asked, Max, PJTV owns everything I do at PJTV, the videos. I own the scripts to the Afterburners. Truth Revolt owns the Firewall brand for as long as I'm doing them at Truth Revolt. And I have to get their permission to do the Behind the Firewall thing. I don't think that'll be a problem. There's one new thing, by the way, and I'm glad somebody mentioned it, because I hadn't even thought to write it down. I do have one problem, and that is that I don't own either of these two brands that I use for my... I'm sorry about the scratchy nose. I don't own either of the two brands that I'm currently doing my commentary on. I don't own Firewall, and I don't own Afterburner. But the video for the Year 2 membership is going to be answering tough liberal questions. We did 4 Stratosphere Lounges on that. I'm going to boil those down and make them into 12 or 13 little 4 or 5 minute segments and get it really kind of, concise. But that leaves me with a problem, and how do I actually present them? So instead of it being kind of the rambling, 20-minute answer or 30-minute answer, it'll be a 4-minute answer. I'll do a cut, and I'll put it in a prompter, and I'll read it. And all that just to say that I'm actually going to launch a new brand, I think, called Notes from the Stratosphere. And it'll be STRATOS and then SPHERE, 2 different words. There's just a few of you out there who go back to the eject days and remember the world of Ejectio, which was kind of this online city we were going to try and build, kind of patterned a little bit after Second Life. It was going to be an online university and a Wikipedia and place to hang out, all kinds of cool things. Put a lot of work into it, never really took off, but there were a lot of computer renderings I did of a mountaintop and very, very tall structures on mountaintops so that they're way up high in the air. And what we're going to do for our Year 2 members is I think I'm going to do it as Tales from the Stratosphere. So there's going to be basically a giant structure that is, a mile or 2 high on top of a mountain. and the top's kind of a dome, and you start off by flying into the dome and you see the clouds, and we're going to change the clouds. So one day it'll be sunset, and one night it'll be night with the moon out, one will be puffy cumulus clouds, and someday it'll be clear with high stratus, that kind of thing. And you'll push into this building, which will be the Stratosphere, and inside the Stratosphere is a geodesic dome with a little kind of like a tongue and a podium, and I'm just going to come out like Emperor Palpatine or something. I'm not going to look like Emperor Palpatine, but I'm going to just be up there in the air, delivering things that way, so that, it gives us a different take. It's going to look like it's coming down from, the future and from the sky. And here's your message for today. And I think that'll actually work out pretty well. It'll allow me to do more philosophical stuff, I think, from the Stratosphere thing, and keep kind of the passionate, angry kind of, how dare these traders and rodeo clowns continue, and keep that on the firewall side. And then Afterburner, I'm doing what comes up that particular news week. So I have to do a little bit of rendering and get it done, but then it's just more green screen work. And it's interesting too, because I like these kind of contrasts. Firewall is, color space wise, image wise, it's black and orange and burning and hot and kind of intense, and I'm standing in the lake of fire. I'm kind of in hell. I actually had a serious worry about that when I first put the graphics package together for this Firewall Mark II. It's like that looks like I'm standing in hell. Well, I am standing in hell. And I also made a joke at the panel on the restoration weekend with Jeremy and Ben Shapiro and Andrew Clavin. And I said, one of the reasons these things cost so much money is because Andrew and Ben do their videos in front of a green screen, but I have an actual lake of fire that I do the videos in front of, and I have to be sure to duck in time when the fire explosion comes out, and I got to make sure I get out of the way when it's tricky. You get that thing timed just right. So the nice thing about notes from the Stratosphere, it will be the exact opposite of that look, and I think it'll take an opposite kind of a tone. Where the background in Firewall is black with flames, this will be kind of light blue with clouds, and the clouds will just be blowing past the geodesic dome, and everything will be very kind of high-tech, kind of what you imagine the 21st century to be like, 22nd century to be like, kind of just very clean and kind of, kind of that look that, what was that Tom Cruise movie, not Edge of Tomorrow, which I thought was very good. The one before that was actually pretty good too. Just a real clean kind of a, high tech kind of look, and it'll be a nice contrast. So we'll be seeing that coming as soon as I can get the regular door-to-door members only content out. So Max, other than that, behind the scenes content of what I'm doing now, there's probably not going to be too much behind the scenes stuff, but there is going to be a great deal of behind the scenes stuff on the movies, and that's going to be starting in spring. So looking forward to that. Somebody just asked about Speakeasy in the comments thing. I want to make sure that yes, I do have a Speakeasy question coming right up, so hang in there.